everyone. Welcome to Another Day in the Car. I'm Julez, and today we're taking a look at Barry's attorneys, Iris Eiton and Drew Nielsen. They are both very successful attorneys, and they have had a couple of big cases that to me are relevant to Barry's case. The most recent one was the case against Micah Kimball, who was arrested back in 2019. I think it was a month or two after his girlfriend, who he was engaged to and was living with, Michelle Jacobson, was found deceased from a gunshot wound to the head in their bedroom. And there had been calls from the neighbors, domestic violence, there was domestic dispute. He was charged with first-degree murder and false imprisonment. He was found not guilty. It's just kind of crazy because at the time there was so much evidence and testimony and everything that it really looked like he was guilty. But in the final arguments, Drew Nielsen said, not surprisingly, Michelle was reckless, impulsive, and out of control in the minutes before her death. And the physical evidence in the case shows that she died by suicide with a contact wound to her head. And Kimball was in another room at the time that the shot was fired, was her argument. And he was found not guilty. After 2 days of deliberation, they returned with that verdict in favor of him. That sort of seemed pertinent because, I mean, it really looked like the guy was guilty, but apparently not. The case that really got me wondering about the coincidence between Barry Morphew hiring the Eiton-Nielsen firm and this case, and you'll see why I feel like there's a tie in the case. The parents of Ashley Fallis, the wife of Tom Fallis, still feel that Tom is guilty. They do not buy the scenario that Ashley took her own life. Fallis was indicted for second-degree murder in November of 2014. He was brought back to Colorado from Bloomington, Indiana, where he had moved with his children. And after acquittal, he went back to Indiana in 2016. And I'm wondering whether Barry was aware of this case. What do you guys think? And then while we're on the topic of Barry, I was checking out Barry and his old business in Arcadia, Indiana, and how it says that his industry, landscape services, decks, landscaper, hardscaping, mulch. And I know that probably it's talking about just laying down mulch, but then that reminds me of all the people who are wondering about wood chippers and attachments for bobcats, which, yes, those are attachments to bobcats that are available. I do not know whether Barry had one. I also have been asked about augers and whether Barry had one of those. I am aware of him planting trees, and I recall that this summer when Andy Mormon was conducting his search looking for Suzanne, that the cadaver dogs alerted on a tree that was near the Puma Path property, and that Chaffee County Sheriff's Office went out there and investigated the tree, and then at the time they did the statement saying that no remains were found, but I don't know whether evidence was found where those dogs were alerting, but I do figure that that could be a possibility. We'll probably learn some more about that in the affidavit when it becomes available. We know it will at some point, possibly the 27th. Also, there are a bunch of other possibilities that I was discussing with some viewers. We've got wood chippers and such like that. We've got tools that a hunter might have, including bone saws and knives and meat grinders and such. And we have the Breaking Bad theory of acid and the fact that the acid does not melt plastic, and coolers are usually made out of plastic, and there are no coolers at the house. Some other people have suggested cement or lye with the coolers. And Suzanne was a small woman. That's a possibility as well. I'd like to hear or see any brainstorming you might have, any insights as to how he may have, if he did this, because, of course, innocent until proven guilty. So maybe I should say, if someone were to remove a person or parts of a person from Salida and were to travel to Broomfield, where would they put the person or pieces of person? Thanks for watching Another Day in the Car. I'll see you in the next video.